Thanks again for joining us for the next iteration of our video podcast series. I'm very excited to introduce our next guest. We have with us Dr. Raghu Appasani. He's a psychiatrist, a neuroscientist, a mental health advocate, a social entrepreneur, works extensively with the World Economic Forum, has done a bunch of research on the topic of mental health, employee well-being. Dr. Raghu, we are very excited to have you here with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Siddharth, and it's a pleasure to be here for this really important discussion.
Dr. Raghu, do you want to briefly introduce yourself and provide an overview of the work that you've done and you're doing currently in the realm of mental health and employee well-being?
So within that part of my life, I'm actually a psychiatrist. I practice primarily in the Los Angeles area in California. It's a very diverse population. But prior to that, I had started the Minds Foundation. It's a NGO. It's based primarily in India. We started in 2010. So the Minds Foundation was formed with this premise of providing basically, how do you increase mental health literacy? So we started in 30 small villages in the Baroda district in Gujarat, and we've expanded now. We're servicing, over 500,000 individuals in India directly, have a 24-hour helpline, counseling center, school education programs, corporate education programs. Now, working with the leaders in these communities, such as the Asha and Anganwadi workers, the biggest resistance was really that they're already quite overstretched in terms of their work, right? And it's the same issue with teachers. They're already overstretched in terms of their demands. However, they do know that people are suffering with psychological issues. They didn't necessarily know what the names were or the treatment or how to speak to them necessarily, but they understood something was wrong. So they were more than willing to come and train, and to continue this type of model, the government really needs to step up and to prioritize it as a core, component of the job of these incredible women, right? Asha and Anganwadi workers doing the work in these communities. The line between work and home is very blurred, and that was happening before the pandemic, and it was leading to a lot of burnout. But at the same time, there was this, this hustle culture of saying, oh, I don't need to sleep that much. I'm working and I'm working and I'm working. And I think that pendulum has now swung in the other direction, where people are recognizing, what's the point of that? I can be more efficient if I sleep more, if I have a purpose in my life other than work. And so it's shifting, but I don't think that a lot of corporations are really answering the call to make that shift that their employees are demanding. With these corporate partners, the thing that we say is that, you can come in and do a workshop, but that's not going to really do much. It's about engaging the same way that Minds has engaged in a community level to understand the community's specific mental health needs. That needs to be done with organizations in a department by department level, because each department is very unique. More on the programmatic scale, in the community level, it is challenging. The best way to really describe it is to say, there's been a change in your child's behavior, and it's starting to affect their friendships and their school, and it's causing some level of distress. Our goal is not to say there's some kind of illness going on or something, but it's to say, how can we help them with the level of distress that's happening, right? So that they start to feel better and they start to engage more. Research has shown very clearly, especially for adolescents and children, that it's really isolated them. It's caused a rise in social anxiety. It's also caused a contagion effect with regards to things like tics, for example. This has been a huge thing that's been spreading. Eating disorders have become contagious, as well as the last thing I want to add is that one of the challenges about social media is it causes a lot of depression and anxiety in folks when they're looking at other people's content. And we often forget that what is presented on social media is only half the story. And no one really knows the other half the story of what that person is dealing with. They might have 1 million followers, but every day they're struggling behind the scenes. And one of the positive things that's starting to happen is people are starting to speak up a bit more about that side of things.